Hello, and welcome once again to the Kettleson Cooking Show. Welcome to Season 3. Today we're going to be doing chili in a slow cooker. Now this works great no matter what kind of event you're doing. If it's just a dinner or if you're going to a party, if you need to bring something that can feed a lot of people and it's a really tasty dish. The thing I love about it is we do it in the slow cooker. So if you're a working parent like me, I can put this in the morning, I can come home, and even if we have a busy night of volleyball or tennis or whatever activities our kids are doing, we could sit down and have a nice meal. So let's get started. The first thing that you're going to really need to do is to get your pan out, because you're going to want to cook your ground beef. Now you're going to have about 1.5 pounds of ground beef here. So I'm going to get this pan started, and before I put that ground beef in there though, I want to do some onions. So I'm going to put a little oil there. Now some people say let the pan cook. Let the pan heat up before you add your oil. I generally agree with that, but when I'm just cooking by myself, I can just throw that oil in and then start to cut the onion. I cut the top off the onion, and then I cut the onion in half. I know we talked about in Season 1 cutting some vegetables, but onions are pretty quick if you cut them the right way. If not, you can kind of hurt yourself sometimes. So I just do 3 slices vertically, then 3 horizontally, and then I just chop. Now with this dish in particular, you don't necessarily need to have everything cut to precise dimensions. You know, in culinary school they always had us really chopping things to the ultimate degree. But if you just put your fingers underneath here, you got your knife, just get some nice chops in here. That's all. It's been a funny week. Just got back from the Kettleson family vacation, where the winter vacation we go up and see my brother. He lives in Minnesota. Now you might ask me why I go to Minnesota in the wintertime, but it's actually a great time to go to Minnesota because you get to do all kinds of fun activities. Now for me, I ended up wiping out on ice skates, playing tag with my niece and nephew and my brother and my kids. And then I took a big fall down the mountain skiing, so I got freed up pretty good. For this chili, I use 1.5 pounds. I make it for 4 people, so you can kind of judge off that. If you want to do a little more, you can. Or else you can just double the recipe. Make it for about 8 people, especially if you're doing like a Super Bowl party. I'm just going to take the ground beef. Now, with chili, unlike with tacos where you really want to cook the meat, with chili, it's okay if the meat's a little bit rare, because remember, so I got my ground beef in. I'm going to recycle this. The next thing I want to do with my ground beef is just shake it up. That's a little bit hot, but it's okay. And then I just add a little bit of salt to my ground beef. And onions. Now remember, you don't have to cook that ground beef all the way through. If it's a little bit rare, that's fine. Now we're going to go to the slow cooker. So let's go to the slow cooker. I got the KitchenAid slow cooker. This costed about 65 bucks. American Test Kitchen said it was the best one. I got to admit, it's been fantastic. I've really done anything I want. It doesn't have some of the really fancy features like the delay start, but outside of that, it's absolutely fantastic. And for 65 bucks, you really can't beat it. So we really have 4 main ingredients here that we're going to put in here that are canned. And if you're keto or paleo or any kind of diet, you can certainly do these with the fresh vegetables. I just find it a lot faster if I just use canned. So the first thing I'm going to put in there is my sliced tomatoes. Diced tomatoes that I got, and I got the ones with the jalapenos in there. It's kind of nice because then I don't have to chop up the jalapeno. If you want to make this chili hotter, you certainly can. But I just like to use these ones here with the jalapenos in. So I put my diced tomatoes in. Second thing that goes in are the pinto beans. Now before you put those pinto beans in, you want to make sure you drain them, because you don't want that extra liquid in there. But while I was having a beat-up week, I found out that one of my employees at work collie. She's getting married in November. So, you know, some people have bad weeks, other people have good weeks. It's kind of like life. But I'm really proud of her, and I know her parents are super proud of her. So the next thing I'm going to use kidney beans. These are dark kidney beans. You can use dark or light. It really doesn't matter. It's chili food. And then the last can I'm going to put in there is tomato sauce. I want to just make sure that this is going well. Once again, not the biggest thing in the world if you leave it a little bit on the rare side, because it's going to be in the slow cooker and it's kind of nice. I don't like to really tear it apart. I like to kind of leave it in little chunks because I kind of like those little chunks in my chili. So do my grill, so it works. So now that I have that in there, I'm going to put the tomato sauce in there. So I got a can of pinto beans, a can of dark kidney beans. I got diced tomatoes with jalapenos in them. And then I'm going to put my can of tomato sauce. Pretty simple, huh? Now I'm going to add a couple of fresh ingredients. I like to put in 2 cloves of garlic. So to do that garlic, I'm just going to crush it right here. And once again, this doesn't have to look pretty. In fact, you don't even really have to cut it from here. I am going to just put a couple cuts on it. But you really don't. I mean, if you just put that in there, and after you peel it, it would work too. That's the nice thing about chili. You can really do whatever you want. You don't have to search for it. I was thinking about that too. You just relax, use simple ingredients that are fresh. Just put them in there and let them go. The other fresh ingredient I use is green pepper. I like it mainly for the look. It doesn't add a ton of taste, but it does kind of really make the dish whole, I think. So I'm going to take out the green pepper, and I always want to remove the seeds from a green pepper. And then I'm going to come here. Once again, this does not have to look pretty. It's going to be in that slow cooker for 8-9 hours. It's kind of nice to have a little bigger chunks actually, because then they show up a little bit better at the end dish. Now, chili is kind of one of those things where everybody has their own kind of secrets to it. And if you want to experiment, you certainly can. God knows I have. I've made chili a number of different ways, and this is the kind of way that I kind of like it. Now, if it was just me, I would add a jalapeno or 2 to this. I would take the seeds out of the jalapeno, just like I did with the green pepper, just because I don't want it super hot, but I like it nice and spicy. But my kids are going to eat this, so they like it like this. I'm going to put chili powder in. Chili powder is going to add a nice kick to it. I don't really get too hypersensitive. It's supposed to be a little bit of 2 teaspoons, but I just kind of eyeball it, just shake a good lot on it. And then I'm going to add my chili secret ingredient. I add cinnamon to chili. I like the cinnamon flavor, that kind of how it mixes with the chili powder. Then any good chili has a little bit of sugar. So I use brown sugar. You can see this is about a little bit more than a teaspoon. And then the final ingredient that I use before salt and pepper is hot sauce. And my favorite hot sauce is Crystal. If you can find Crystal, it's great. What hot sauce really is just chili peppers and vinegar. And the vinegar does a really nice job of balancing out that sugar. It really makes it have a nice little flavor in there. You can always put this at the end. Then the last thing I'm going to put here is my salt. I'm using sea salt here. You can use regular table salt. It really doesn't matter. If you are going to use sea salt, though, just remember it's a little more potent. So you might think, oh gosh, I didn't put enough in there, and then you put some more in there, and then it becomes really powerful. I got my beef looks, and see how this has still got a little bit of rareness to this? I don't want to cook this much more, because I want to make sure that the meat is nice when you go to eat it 8 hours from now, and that little bit of rareness will actually turn out just right. Guys, this is coming together. I think I'm going to go with this right here. So what I'm going to do here, I got my meat brown. I'm going to take my plate. I'm just going to put it over the side here and just drain this because I want to get that fat off. Now, one thing I didn't talk about, I use 80-20. That means that this ground beef has a lot of fat in it. I like that fat for this chili. Once again, we're cooking it in a slow cooker, so it's going to cook low and slow for a long time. And it's really going to be a nice dish. So now how you use the slow cooker is this. I like to give this a stir because I kind of want to get that ground beef mixed up in there. So I give it a quick stir. This looks absolutely delicious right here. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to push it back. I'm going to put the top on. I'm going to hit let's put it in for 9 hours. Once again, sometimes I'm at work for a little bit longer than normal, so I'll be home in like 10 hours after I hit this button here. So I like to put it, you can do this anywhere from 8 to 10 hours and it's going to turn out just fine. This is the great thing about the slow cooker. I am done right now. I am done. So all I have to do is leave that in there for 8 hours. I come home, it's a wonderful, wonderful chili. I actually was playing around with it a couple days ago, so I made a little bit extra. This one's not quite the same. I put corn in this one because I was playing around. I used black beans and a couple other beans. But how my girls like it is they like either a couple of noodles underneath. So if I have some extra noodles, I'll put noodles underneath. And then they like the chili right on top. And then they go with the cheese. So they put some cheese right on top of it. And then this is the interesting thing. We go with mustard in this house. They all love mustard on their chili, so they put a ring of mustard around it. And then they would put the sour cream right on top. And if you're my youngest daughter, Elizabeth, you're going to use a whole carton of sour cream at that point. But most people like just a dab. But this is a wonderful, quick meal that you can have with your family. The great thing about it is you can make it in the morning, put it in the slow cooker, have a nice meal, and then if you got to drive your kids to volleyball or track or whatever kind of practice, that you can get them there and you can have a great meal. For a single parent, this is a fabulous meal for me. This is a fabulous meal for me. I recommend you try it. Thank you so much for watching the Kettleson Cooking Show. Have a great day.